Welcome to 10th standard students. On the episode number 3, topic is current electricity. In this topic, we are going to learn 10th standard students. On the episode number 3, topic is current electricity. In this topic, we are going to learn. Now let us move to the topic of current electricity. In the previous episode, we learned the basic concept of electricity like Joule's law, the effect of Joule's law, and so on. So now, after this, in this chapter particularly, we are going to learn the effect of electric current, that is purposely the magnetic field or a magnetic effect. When the current is passed through the conductor, the heat is what generated. And this generated heat is directly proportional to the current passed through it. So how these are the different effects and what are the important parts related to it? Now we are going to start this part. As we see that when the current is passed through the conductor, there are two types of effects are seen. And that we are going to learn in our 10th standard. That is, one is called the magnetic effect and other is called heating effect. In heating effect of the current when passed through the conductor, we are going to learn the part called Joule's law, fuse wire, and the concept like overloading. So what is mean by Joule's law, fuse wire, overloading? That thing we are going to learn. And another part is that the related to it, as we see that the heating effect, Joule's law, fuse wire, overloading, these all application is based on the heating effect, that is when the electric current pass through the circuit. Another is called as magnetic effect. When the current is passed through the conductor, the magnetic field is generated. And in this magnetic effect, in the 10th standard, we are going to learn if the different variety of conductor is there. Suppose we have a straight conductor, what will be the direction of the magnetic field if one loop, many loop, Ampere law, Fleming left-hand rule, and Fleming right-hand rule. In the today's lecture, we are going to deal with the heating effect and the magnetic effect. So let us move to the heating effect and the magnetic effect as you seen on the screen. Now, in this video, we are going to explain the concept called the magnetic effect. Now, as you seen in this diagram, as you seen in this diagram, see, this is what is the complete electric circuit is there. In this electric circuit, suppose a battery is connected. You can see there is a two terminal. This is a positive terminal of the battery and negative terminal of the battery. And it is connected to the wire. And around it, there is a magnetic needle. So this is, we have magnetic needle. This is magnetic needle. Now let us see that what happened when the current passed through the conductor. So as you seen in this video, a complete circuit is ready. So as current is passed through the conductor, now there is another experiment. It's called as an Oersted experiment. So what is an Oersted experiment? The Oersted is a scientist who explained the phenomena called as when the current is passed through the conductor and what is the effect on the magnetic field. So let us move here. You have to take two small wooden stick, and on this wooden stick you have to mount a wire. Now when the wire is connected to the say plug key, circuit is get completed. Now connect the battery as shown there. Now as soon as when you connect the battery and the compass is kept under the electric field, then what we observe? We observe that when the current is passed through the conductor, there is a deflection in the magnetic needle take place. And this deflection, the deflection is directly proportional to the current passed through it. So it indicates that whenever there is a electric current is passed, the magnetic field is generated. Now let us see how this relation affects us by looking at the diagram. So let us move to that part. We are going to see the relation between the magnetic field and the electric field. Now here we are going to observe some question based on the diagram. Here we can see there are two diagrams are shown. One diagram here, as you see in the part, this is the cell where there is a negative terminal followed by the positive terminal. And we know that the current direction of conventional direction of current shows from negative to the positive. So this is what we have, say direction of current. And the plug key is there to control the current. Now what happened if suppose the current is passed through the conductor, original direction of the magnetic needle as shown in the figure is south and north. And we observe here there is a deflection towards the wire. It clearly indicates that whenever the current is passed through the conductor, why the magnetic needle is deflected. The reason is that because of the magnetic field is produced. And in the another diagram, you can see the change in the deflection also take place, and even see the direction of the current also change. So it indicates that when the direction of the current also changes, the magnetic field also changes. So whatever questions may be asked in this type of forested experiment. So let us move to which variety of questions are going to be asked in this experiment. So the first question can be asked, what is the aim of this experiment? So we can write to show that the current passes through the conductor when the magnetic field is produced. The another question is there, what is the purpose of use of magnetic needle in this experiment? Why the magnetic needle is used? Now, here we try to show that when we are study any topic, purposely in case of science 1, the student are just learning or reading the text. They are not getting or they are not able to understand the concept, because see, a new pattern of the question, a question will be asked on your understanding level. So try to clear the concept, what type of variety of questions can be asked, what type of questions are going to be asked, and if you prepare according to that, you can get a very good marks in science. And again, when you get a very good marks, then you will get the confidence in that. So now the next question is, what is the purpose of the why the magnetic needle is used in this experiment? So magnetic needle is used to test the magnetic field, because if there is a magnetic field, then there will be a deflection. That's why the magnetic needle is used. The third question can be asked, what happened to the deflection in the needle if more battery is connected in the series? So we know that when the current passes through the conductor, more amount of current will be passed, than the intensity of the magnetic field will be increased. And if the intensity of the magnetic field is increased, then the deflection will be more. Then what is the conclusion you draw from question number 3? So the conclusion is that more is the current, more is the deflection in the magnetic field. Another question is asked that what happened to the deflection if the direction of current is reversed? So deflection is also reversed. And what conclusion we'll draw from the question number 5? So the conclusion is that magnetic field have a direction which depends on the direction of the current. It means the magnetic field and the current both have a vector quantity and both have a direction. The 7th question will be, what happened if the magnetic needle took far away from the conductor? So when we took far away from the conductor, then the intensity of the magnetic field will be weak. And if the intensity of the magnetic field becomes weak, then the deflection will be the less and lesser. So deflection will become less. And from all till question number 7 and observing the question, what will be your final conclusion? So our final conclusion for this total entire diagram is that the magnetic field have a direction which depend on the direction of current, and if the polarity changes, the direction of magnetic field also changes. Now these are the different variety of the questions are going to be asked based on magnetic effect. So here till now we learn the relation between the electric field and the magnetic field. Now we are going to learn if the shape of the conductor is changed. Maybe your shape of the conductor is a straight conductor or a one loop conductor or a many loop conductor. Then is there going to be change in the magnetic field? If there is a change in the intensity of the magnetic field, that we are going to learn, and that type of questions are going to be asked in exam point of view. So now let us move to that part, what is going to be happen if we have, say, straight conductor. Now, when we have, say, straight conductor, then what is going to be happen when the current pass through it? Here in this video, so magnetic field around the straight conductor. A magnetic field around a straight conductor can be understood by this activity you can see in the video. You have to take one board. On that board, you have to take one white piece of paper and one hole so that we can keep one straight conductor with that. Here we have to understand that, we have to observe that if there is a straight conductor, the red direction indicates the direction of current and the magnetic needle on the board. And if you draw the circles according to it, you can see there is a direction of magnetic field. You can see when the direction of the current is anti-clockwise, then the direction of the magnetic field is a reverse of that. Means direction of magnetic field and the direction of current is totally opposite in direction. The lines of force will be in the anti-clockwise direction and the direction of the current. And if you reverse the direction of the current, you observe that there is a reverse in the direction of magnetic field also. So it's clearly indicate that this about the overstated experiment and what type of questions are going to be asked there. It means if we have a straight conductor, then we have a magnetic field in pattern of, say, loop. Now, what type of questions are going to be asked? This is our textual diagram. Now, let us move to our textual diagram. And if suppose this is, we have a conductor, which is a straight conductor. Now, in a straight conductor, suppose we pass the current. Now, in this diagram, we can see the cell negative terminal, a positive terminal. So, current move, conventional direction of current is from negative to positive. Therefore, the current direction will be negative to positive. Then the current will come here and it will be noted in the ammeter. So, function of ammeter to see that how much current flow through the current conductor. Then we have one resistance is connected, and this is a variable resistance and a straight conductor, and to observe the relation between the magnetic field. So one cardboard is attached here and the magnetic needle, and this dotted line indicates the magnetic field. So what we can observe here in this particularly diagram, in this diagram, we observe that the direction of current is anti-clockwise. This is the direction of current. And see, observe the diagram. So direction in the diagram, we can easily identify, and we can say that direction of current is clockwise. And now we are moving to the magnetic field. So what is the magnetic field here? You can see here the direction of magnetic field is anti-clockwise. It means when we have a straight conductor, the direction of magnetic field is clockwise or anti-clockwise, then the direction of magnetic field is totally different. Now let us move to which type of questions are going to be asked, particularly in this type of, or on the basis of this. So the question may be, observe the diagram and answer the following question. In this video or on this episode, we are trying to show that how to study or especially the effect of electric current chapter. Many students are getting difficulty in that. So why they are getting difficulty? Because they just read it. And repeatedly I am going to tell you that or saying that whenever we have to learn science, you have to understand the concept. So this entire concept is based on the Oersted experiment. So let us move to the first question. If your conductor is long and straight, what will be the type of magnetic field is produced? So by looking at the diagram, we can come to the conclusion. What conclusion we can come here? Here we have a straight conductor and we can see around the conductor there is a concentric circles are appeared. Concentric circles. So which indicate that if our conductor is long and straight, so long and straight means this is our conductor, which is long as well as straight. Now, if the conductor is long and straight, then which type of magnetic field is produced? The magnetic field produced here is a concentric circle around the conductor. Now, the next question will be asked here is that what happens if the number of concentric circles, if a number of batteries increase, means if suppose you increase the potential difference, is there any number of concentric circle will be increase or decrease? Or is there the shape of the concentric circles will change, will be effect on any radius? Then answer is more number of dense concentric circles will appear, more is the current passed through the conductor, more is the magnetic field or intensity of the magnetic field is produced. And as a result, we can see there is a dense type of concentric circles. It can be seen or it can be observed. Now, what happens if suppose if the resistance is increased? Because in this diagram, circuit diagram, your resistance is shown. Now we have a formula R is equal to V upon I, and where we can write R is directly proportional to V and R is inversely proportional to the I. So when R is directly proportional to V, it means what happened? More is the potential difference, then resistance is more, then we require more potential difference. And the current and resistance are inversely proportional to each other. So using this concept or using this rule, we have to answer this particular question. So what will be your answer for this particular question is? So it will increase, decrease, since the more is the resistance, less is the current flow, because they are inverse relation to each other. And as a result, we can see the answer of this question. So less is the current, less amount of magnetic field is produced. And if the resistance is decreased, then what happened to the number of concentric circles? Then the answer will be it will be increased, because we see that the relation is entirely the reciprocal to each other. Now we'll move to the another questions. The point P is there in the diagram shown in the text. If the magnetic needle is placed instead of point P in the diagram near to the conductor, so as we move to towards the conductor means what? It is going to be asked there. When we are at towards the conductor, means we are coming closer to the conductor. And when we are moving closer to the conductor, then what is going to be happening? So it shows that more deflection at that point P, because the magnetic intensity is more. So nearer to the conductor, more intensity and more magnetic field is produced, and therefore deflection will be the different. Now, this is the part what we can see in our textbook. The passage is given about always remember. Now, what always remember says here, purposely to show always remember here, because the students are just overlooking it. So see, in exam point of view, the questions are going to be asked even on the topic called always remember. So if you go through that, always remember what it says that. So just we'll quickly go through it and what type of questions are they are going to be asked. So here we have a magnetic field is produced around the straight carrying conductor. If the current is unchanged, the magnetic field reduces as the distance from the wire increases. And therefore, the concentric circle representing magnetic lines of force are shown bigger and rarefied. And as the distance from the wire increases, the current through the wire is increased and intensity of the magnetic field decrease. So it means just I told you that the intensity of the magnetic field, it completely depends on the current passed through the conductor. So what type of questions are going to be asked, particularly based on this passage? So the question can be asked, what type of magnetic lines of force will appear around the straight conductor if the current passed through the heat? Just we learned in the previous part also. It's a concentric circles. And what is your conclusion regarding the concentric circles if they are bigger in size, or if the radius is bigger and it becomes more dense, then more current is passed through the conductor. Then here we are going to see the relation between the straight conductor and the magnetic field. This relation is also called as a screw law. So why it is screw law? So let us move to understand the concept. If there is a straight conductor, in a straight conductor, how to identify or how to determine the direction of current as well as the direction of the magnetic field. So here we have a straight conductor, and around the straight conductor, when the current is passed through the conductor, we can see there is a concentric circles. So what we have, we are going to learn the right hand thumb rule. If you consider a conductor in your right hand and thumb shows the direction of the current, then the curl finger shows the direction of the magnetic field. So if the direction of the current is the upward, that is a clockwise, then the direction of magnetic field is the opposite to that, which is also called as Maxwell's screw law. So how we can compare between the Maxwell's screw law? You can see the screw. When you press the screw, then it will go in the downward direction. This downward direction will show me the direction of the current, and the screwdriver is required to move the screw so that if you move in the opposite direction, then the screw will also move in the opposite direction. So it will go in the downward direction, but you have to move in the opposite direction. So both these diagrams, you can see here, the direction of magnetic field is completely opposite to each other. One is clockwise and other is anti-clockwise. Then we can determine the direction of the current. And this is what we called as a right hand thumb rule, which is called screw law or Maxwell screw law or Maxwell cock law. This law is in our textbook. It is mentioned as a right hand thumb rule. So right hand thumb rule is applicable, or it is used to determine the direction of magnetic field and the direction of current. Now, what type of questions are going to be asked based on it? So this is the diagram from the textbook. It is taken, and the two letters are shown there, the letter A and letter B. Now, the which question will be there? Observe the figure and answer the question. Number one, name the rule shown in the adjoining figure. So as we see that purposely at the bottom of the diagram itself, I took the name of that. So here, observation play a very important role. But in exam point of view, the bottom line will be not given to you. Then you have to identify, especially in this case. So name of the rule shown in the adjoining figure is the right hand thumb rule. What is letter A indicate? letter A indicate direction of current. And what is letter B indicate? The letter B indicate the direction of the magnetic field. It means the students are under impression that only the right hand thumb rule is going to be asked. That is not the way, because the question pattern paper is changed and we now are deal with the activity question paper, and all the questions will be at activity based. And when there is activity based, then the asking pattern of the question also going to be changed. So this is what we learn about. If about there is straight conductor is there, then what will be the effect of it? Now we will stop here in the episode number 3 here. Till wait for the episode number 4. In episode number 4, we are going to learn a different variety of the conductor. If there is a one loop or a many loop, then what is